Good afternoon. Welcome to Bowls Theory of Everything. Today's subject, cover bowls. These bowls are most important, more important in many cases than those you see very close to the jack. Hands up, those of us who suffered the loss of a lot of shots in one end, like 7, 8 or 9 shots even. Me. You can drop a big number by just being out-bowled to the jack. Your team's bowls surround the jack, but at least 3 or 4 feet away, and the opposition has all its bowls less than 3 feet away. Here's an example. I'm always the red team. Red team's got 6 bowls, more or less a yard away. Not the worst bowls, but the opposition have just bowled theirs inside. And sometimes the running bowl isn't very easy, the draw's not very easy. So that's where sometimes you can drop a big number. The other team may be better than you, and they may be doing this quite often. They may have just had a very good end, and all their good bowls have come in one end. In this case, don't get down on yourself, particularly if it's early in the game. There's lots of time to get that back, so don't panic, concentrate harder. That's not what I'm going to talk about today. That's just one particular end. What I'm saying is don't panic, just concentrate on getting closer, and the opposition, I'm not going to keep putting those 6 bowls in. I'm going to talk today at how a large number of shots are dropped on one end because the jack's moved. And boy, have I suffered several of these in my bowls career. In several important singles games, I've held match lie, only for my opponent to run the jack, take away the game. And it's also happened to me in team games, and usually that involves the jack not only being knocked back, but sideways as well. When this turnover of shots happens, it's a double whammy. You lose all the shots you'd clustered round the jack, and then you have to watch while the jack heads towards your opponent's bowls behind. What makes it worse is you can often see your fate before the jack even reaches the head. You can see it coming with that yard of weight, and you see it kind of collide with the jack. So, how does this happen? Often it happens because you're standing at the head here, directing the person bowling. You're up here and the opponent bowls past you and you don't take any notice. I'm now going to set up the sort of head where this happens. How to avoid this happening, this big turnover of shots. First of all, you have to concentrate on how the wider head is shaping up. So you have to beware of dangerous situations and cover those bowls. Don't stand in the head, as I said earlier, and forget that the bowls have sailed past, the black bowls have sailed past. You're looking at your shots on the head and you're thinking, God, this is good. I've got 3, 4 shots here, and they keep missing the head. And of course, you don't look behind and see the danger here of those black bowls. Before I show you that, you need to assess the overall match situation. So you don't just blindly cover, you look at all the options. Okay, early in the game, when the score's even, do not leave yourself to a vulnerable big trail. You see here, the black bowls coming down on this line can knock that jack back into the clump. And if the black bowl follows through on it, it could make even 5. But the bowl will come through that gap, run that jack through into that group. 5 shots, 4 up, 5 down, turnover of 9 shots. That's the danger. You don't want to lose that early in the game. So what you must do is cover, put in your cover bowls. It's hard to come back. You drop a big number early in the game, the opposition is cock a hoop. They gain confidence. You're chasing the game. So early in the game, make sure the heads are tight. Don't be loose early on. If shots are developing behind, you've then got to draw in and cover these bowls. I'll talk about how to do that in the second half of this video, but that's the first thing. Early in the game, put cover bowls in, definitely. Okay, second one. You're several shots behind early in the game and have a few shots near the jack. What do? Do you think, I'm behind? I'll gamble that. I'm 4 or 5 shots on the board. I've got 4 shots there. I'm back in the game. But the point is, you need to take the insurance out, because if that black bowl comes through and takes those shots, as I demonstrated a minute ago, you'll be another 5 shots down on top of your first 5. There's no need to gamble early in the game. What you need to do is take an insurance out and cover most of the back bowls. And sometimes you don't need, if there's 3 black bowls at the back, you don't need 3 red bowls to cover them all. So for example, if there's 3 black bowls there, like that, you don't need 3 red bowls in here. You just need 1 bowl, red bowl, in the middle. And unless that jack gets covered right through, then you'll need another one here. But in this game, I've got one at the back. So if the jack comes right through, you're covered anyway. But you have to cover those shots, and depending where they are, you can use the bowl, your red bowl, to get in between and amongst them so you can cover. But you've got to think, where can it go? Put your cover bowl in. Third scenario. There are now 3 ends to go. You're 6 shots up. As long as you don't concede more than 1 or 2 per end, you're going to win the game. You must cover all the opponent's bowls, even those jack high. You cannot afford to lose 2 or more shots. You can't afford a big turnover, so you have to cover all the bowls. You can be unlucky with different ricochets, but 6 up with your cover bowls, you'll usually win the game. I'll just show you here how something can be innocently. You'll think here that the jack always goes back, and I've got cover. Yes, I've got cover here, so I'm well covered. But there is a clump over here. It may be not where you expect the jack to go, but it's still a clump of bowls. You have to cater for the unexpected. And what could happen here is the black person could bowl here, bowl the jack with a bit of pace, and it hits this jack, goes over sideways, jack high. And that was 3 there, could have been 4. So what you have to do is, before it gets to that number of shots, as they're building up, before all 4 are in, you start putting your cover bowl in on it. So you've obviously got to cover in there. So I say, before all 4 are in, but if you only got 1 bowl left, do it with that. But ideally, you anticipate that and start covering before it gets to that situation. But if you're left with the black's got 1 to go, and you've got 1 bowl, cover where there's a clump, even if the jack doesn't look like it's going there. So you bowl round the backhand in here, there, to cover those, and you'd be unlucky. The jack came right out to here, maybe you'd be down. But some really big, unfortunate, 100 to 1 chance ricochets, you can't. All you can do is do the cover and cover the odds, and that's what you do in that particular hand. One more scenario. your 3 ends to go. This time you're 6 shots down. So you've got 3 shots here, as I described earlier. We've got 3 or 4 in there. So what do? Do you cover or do you leave them? And this may be the situation where you say, okay, I'm going to put the pressure on the skip. I need the shots. Instead of covering, I'll just try another draw. The point being that if your skip has just drawn 1 or 2, would you bank the skip to get his final or her final bowl in the head, or to get to a tricky cover position? And the odds are that they will come in here and draw another one and make it, put the pressure on the opposition. You now got 5 shots, then the opposition knows if they don't get in, that back's all square. If they get in, you know, they're already 6 shots up, 5 or 6 shots up. It's worth taking the risk in that situation. But most times, cover. Most times that's what you must do. I'm now going to show you in the last part of the video the method of playing cover bowls. The method of playing cover bowls is that you make 2 adjustments to drawing to the jack. One is, how far through are you bowling? So if you're bowling to here, that would be 2 yards through. And how wide? In my previous videos, I was describing line and length. So if you want to bowl a yard wide, 2 yards wide, you have to widen your aiming point accordingly. So you've got to widen your aiming point and add the length. So that's 2 variables. It is not easy. If somebody bowls and covers those bowls from the other end, exactly where you say, please congratulate them, because it's easier than drawing into the jack. So usually there is a path through. So forehand, you cover these bowls, you add that weight and add that width here. You know, it might be a bit deeper, could be 2-3 yards back, but make sure you add the width and concentrate on looking at your target. Forget the head, forget the jack. This is the length you're bowling, and adjust your line accordingly. Sometimes it's hard to get, if this is a ditch side, sometimes you can't draw around here, but you've got to do the best you can. You've got to perhaps just rest on these, because your bowl can't go wide round there. Instead of ending up here, you'd aim to draw it onto these bowls here. So if your bowl's going to end up here, instead of bowling it on this hand, and you can't bowl it any wider than here, that's not good enough maybe. You've got to bowl it and rest on these. So you have got to manufacture shots sometimes. Another thing is, sometimes the path, if you're covering these, sometimes the path to that is blocked. But maybe it's your own bowl. You're going to have to take a chance that you're going to have to bowl through to push this bowl into that gap. So you've got to manufacture shots sometimes, and they're not easy, well worth practicing. And the rewards are great. It'll stop you going 4 down, and it'll keep your lead in those tight games. So do practice them. One more tricky situation that I'll describe to you, and it requires a brave bowl, because sometimes set this up here. Sometimes there's a cluster of bowls just waiting for that draw shot, just waiting for the trail, I mean, and the path to get in here. So here's the shot, the trail's waiting to be made for 4 shots, jack into that spot there. Sometimes you just cannot bowl your bowl. Ideally, you've got to bowl your bowl in here. But if it's blocked here, you can't do it. If it's a crucial thing for the game, sometimes you have to play the opposition shot and actually draw through here and risk moving the jack yourself. So you have to bowl, ideally, coming round here and coming in like that, somewhere close. Even, it may seem odd, even if you trail that back, holding 1 is better than dropping 3. So sometimes you have to weigh up all these situations and say, is it worth covering? Is it not worth covering? How do I cover? Do I push a bowl back? Do I just draw around it? There's lots of ways. You have to think more, and they're more interesting bowls, but very difficult to play. Well worth practicing. And what you do, come up and practice bowling offline to your jack. And I have had videos on this, which you can find, but you have to bowl offline, add the weight, and if your skip does that, give them a round of applause, because that's excellent. That's all for this week. Please subscribe and get the next videos. I don't know what the topic's going to be yet, but I know that if you comment and suggest one, you may well see it next week. Okay, thanks very much and see you soon. Bye-bye.